Well, hello there, folks. Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin. This is the second episode of Rapid Fire. Basically, it's like my quick take show. I just talk about a few subjects in short bursts, give my brief opinions on them, and then let you guys decide if you want to, chime in on the comments. And then, hey, you give your opinions or make your own videos. I actually like that because I would check them out, or at the very least, retweet them out if you're on Twitter. So anyway, this is going to be an Impact Wrestling heavy themed show, except I want to start off with one WWE thing, and it's not ranked in importance. The Tom Phillips thing about the Instagram, DMs or messages or whatever that Tom Phillips had with some girl on there. And basically, it made him seem like a bit of a lecherous creep, but also just like a regular guy. I mean, maybe he'd been talking to this woman for a while. Maybe he'd been having something with him. Maybe it was just an internet affair. There are also rumors that he's possibly engaged. Now, that's entirely possible. He could be engaged. There's no real way of knowing. They could have an open relationship. They could no longer be engaged, and people are just using old information. I'm not saying it makes it okay. I'm not saying Tom Phillips shouldn't, be embarrassed by the fact that this was made public, but that's the risk you take talking to anybody, whether you're a man or woman, especially famous, talking to somebody, and having that kind of conversation. So people are saying, oh, Tom Phillips should be fired. No, he shouldn't. Even if he's engaged. I mean, it's a bad thing to do, and you shouldn't do that anyway, even if it was just on the internet, you were just talking to somebody. But, I don't know. You guys just shouldn't, let's not roast the guy. It's not like he killed somebody. It's not like he's a pedophile. I mean, let's not roast Tom Phillips. So, I don't think he's going to get fired. He'll get made fun of. He'll probably get, people will probably be joking with him, but he's not going to get fired. Anyway, now we move on to the Impact Wrestling stuff, where it's really just 4 questions or 4 topics, and everything that I have. So this one might go on a little longer than normal, but Drew Galloway leaves TNA. Where does he go? So, okay, Drew Galloway's done pretty well in TNA. TNA champion, he was featured pretty well. I mean, not all the time. And he did, I believe, suffer a concussion or some kind of injury heading into Bound for Glory when he was at an indie show, so he was unable to compete there. And I'm not surprised that Drew left. I'm surprised that they let him go. Now, maybe with the new, people backstage, aka the good old boys, Jeff Jarrett, Scott D'Amore, and Dutch Mantell, and with Anthem as the new owners, maybe they didn't want to give him the type of money offer that he wanted, or maybe he just wanted to move on and go to the indie scene. I think he could do well on the indie scene. Obviously, he has. He's really reinvented himself and done great and showed WWE they were majorly stupid to let him go and not use him better. But Ring of Honor and New Japan, I think, is more likely. New Japan Pro Wrestling would benefit greatly from him. He would get over there huge. He's got the size. He's got the talking ability. And he could have some great matches with a lot of the New Japan talent. Ring of Honor, yes, but Ring of Honor's having their own issues keeping some talent. So would they want to bring somebody like Drew in and not try to keep the guys that they already have? I mean, that's a fair question for really any company. I think New Japan, yes, it's entirely possible that WWE may be on the radar, especially if they do a UK promotion. But honestly, I think he'd be better off going to New Japan. I mean, he'd probably get more money in WWE, but would they actually use him well? So Japan would be my choice. So it's a loss for TNA. This one's more of a loss, I think, than people want to give credit for, because TNA is kind of losing some stars. And even as they're signing people, you have to wonder with the way Anthem's doing their tapings and how some tapings don't have that many people there. Is Anthem already starting to slide? But I'll get to that in a minute. The Hardys leave TNA. Where do they go? Depending on what reports you believe, the Hardys want full creative control over their characters, which, to be fair, is something that WCW did with Hogan and to a lesser degree others, and you saw how that worked. I mean, there's nothing wrong with giving top stars some, creative control, input, this kind of stuff, but not full creative control. Because then they're able to dictate, to the bosses what they can do. So, am I surprised that the Hardys left? I mean, I had a feeling all the way back in December there's a chance they would leave. I just never believed that with the way they reinvented themselves, and I will say that much, especially about Matt Hardy. I didn't think I'd care for the Broken character, and I think it's kind of goofy and whatever, but he's committed to it, he's invested in it, and it is well worked. And I'm actually pretty excited to see where they're going to go. They get great reactions when they go to indie shows, especially Matt Hardy. And Jeff Hardy has also been able to reinvent himself by somehow acting way goofier. But I get why TNA didn't want to keep them. It's just kind of a bit of a botch that the Hardys still had the tag titles for these most recent tapings, and they're, I guess, they're either gonna appear at one taping, the first taping, and lose the titles, or they're just gonna be taken down off camera and I guess they'll lose the titles there. I'm not really sure. I mean, I'm not sure how they're doing that. It is a shame that the Hardys are leaving because they helped give TNA some different type of identity. But also, you have to wonder, has the whole thing with the final deletion, the total nonstop deletion, that kind of stuff, has it gone to a level and gone to a point where maybe they can't top it? And maybe it's kind of run its course? I'm not saying the Broken characters, but I'm saying the the total nonstop deletion and all that. Has that whole theme run its course? It's done well in the ratings, and the ratings haven't done so well afterwards. One could argue that's because of other creative stuff that they've been doing, and with other characters and everything, and non-creative stuff that they've been doing, like what they've done with Aaron Rex. What the hell are they doing with, the former Damien Sandow? What the hell are they doing with Aaron Rex? What the hell? The guy's really talented. They'll make him a Liberace type character. Spud, to me, looks miserable in that role. That's a whole different subject. I think the Hardys have some indie dates. They're facing the Young Bucks. I don't remember where they're facing the Young Bucks, but I know that they're facing them sometime in the beginning of April. Could the Hardys show up at WrestleMania? It's entirely possible. I don't believe TNA has a 90-day no-compete clause like WWE has, or any other companies might have. They could show up in WWE. They would probably get the most money in WWE, even with the great prices and great money they bring in on the indies. I don't think New Japan's possible. I mean, maybe for a one-shot. Ring of Honor, maybe, but I don't think Ring of Honor could afford them. I think WWE's very likely. I don't believe they'll re-sign with TNA because that door is closed. And also the Hardys are 43 and 40. Or at least they will be this year. You have to rebuild, or at least they're close to that. You have to rebuild with youth. You have to. While the Hardys are name brand and they have really done a great job reinventing themselves and all that, TNA needs to focus on some youth. Even Lashley's not going to be around that much longer, as much as he's in good shape still. He's going to be 42 this year. They got to find young talents, and I mean, that's part of the reason why losing Drew Galloway is almost worse, because he's a young guy with a number of years, at least a good, I'd say, near decade left of his prime. The Hardys leaving TNA, though, it hurts. I get why they left, if the Hardys really want full creative control. So I don't blame Anthem and anyone else that's involved in negotiations, possibly Jeff Jarrett. I don't blame them for doing that. So, hope for the best. Hope for the best for TNA. Hope for the best for Drew Galloway and the Hardys. And then, what does this mean for TNA? Again, just like I said, they got to rebuild with youth. There's nothing wrong with bringing in some established stars, but if you're going to bring in guys that are near 40 or rely on guys that are near 40, that's part of the reason why it was good that Kurt Angle left last year. And then he's going to go in WWE Hall of Fame and all that. Because as good as he was wrestling, he's in his mid-40s. If you rely too much on the past stars, and this is what WWE's doing. I'm not saying TNA's the only one doing it. WWE's relying on some part-timers and some guys that aren't there around as much, and the newer talents and the full-time talents are suffering. WWE, the more established brand, they can do that stuff even as their audience goes here, here, here. You know, it goes on a bit of a pendulum, you know, back and forth and everything, as opposed to a other working pendulum. TNA just needs to rebuild with youth. Rebuild with youth. Get Josh Matthews off commentary. Get somebody else there. That guy is crippling to the product. He just isn't interesting to listen to. I think this will hurt TNA at least in the short term. The Drew Galloway one might hurt a little more. The Hardys, yes. But see, really, TNA doesn't have that much in any of their divisions. I mean, their Knockouts division is sort of getting rebuilt. Their Heavyweight division, The Grand Championship, it's stupid. At least the rules. And the Tag division, I mean, there's Decay, there's the DCC. They got rid of the Tribunal, I believe, sometime like a few months ago. So, I mean, who do they have left? They got to bring in some guys. Even if they're just on one-shot stuff, give them a shot in the arm. It could hurt TNA if they don't rebuild. And does Anthem want TNA to succeed? Do they know what they're doing? It looks like Anthem rebranding it as Impact Wrestling is not a problem. It's just, it seems like with some of these creative decisions, like they don't know what they're doing. And it maybe Anthem with the whole liquidation sale of like, you know, Shop TNA, and they're still doing that stuff. In fact, I gotta go check them in a bit. That's where I got this shirt, it's Jeff Hardy t-shirt. I just wonder what it's gonna mean. Because Anthem seems like they're willing to work with TNA and try to make the brand succeed, but then they do weird creative stuff, and, you know, they're letting people go, and they're not spending much money seemingly. TNA needs to find a way to tour in the UK again, because they're huge in the UK. That is going to cost quite a bit of money. Tour in Canada. I think Canada would be a pretty good hotbed, especially with Scott D'Amore back on creative. He ran a Canadian promotion there for a while. They obviously can't bring Team Canada back unless they want to bring in new Canadian athletes. That would be kind of cool. But I don't know. I don't know if Anthem knows what they're doing right now. I thought they were at first, but some of these decisions had me wondering. So anyway, that's where I'm going to leave that off. So do you agree with what I said? Do you disagree? Like, share, comment, and subscribe. My Twitter link is in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin, and I'll see you soon.